Intro, my brother and sisters. Each sunrise, my brother, my sister, is not a mere repetition of yesterday. It is a radical renewal, a reminder that you've been given another chance to wrestle with truth, to live with courage, and to love without fear. The morning does not ask permission to shine. It rises because that is its nature. And in the same way, you must rise not as a machine following routine, but as a soul reborn each day into possibility. You see, too many of us wake up already defeated. We open our eyes, but not our hearts. We move through schedules, but not through meaning. The world tells you what you can't do, what you don't have, what you've lost. And before your feet even touch the ground, you've surrendered your peace. But the truth is this: the morning is your first act of resistance. The moment you open your eyes, you are standing up against despair. So when you rise, don't just chase money or fame or fleeting comfort. Chase integrity. Chase compassion. Chase the kind of greatness that will still matter when you're gone. Because every sunrise carries a quiet question: who will you choose to be today? That's why today, my friend, we speak of 5 things, 5 truths, to tell yourself every morning. They're not empty affirmations. They're not slogans you post on the wall and forget. They are declarations of the soul, rooted in the moral fire of self-knowledge and purpose. These are the words that shape your spirit before the world tries to break it. So breathe deep and listen closely. This is your morning covenant with yourself. A promise between your mind and your soul. I am responsible for my life. When the dawn breaks, whisper this truth to yourself. I am responsible for my life. Responsibility is not a punishment. It is the ultimate power. In this world, we love to blame. We blame the government, the system, our parents, our ex-lovers, our past, our pain. But as long as you blame, you remain bound. Cornel West teaches that freedom is the courage to take responsibility for your own being. You cannot be free if you refuse to face yourself. Responsibility means you no longer wait for the world to save you. You understand that your destiny is not written by circumstance. It is written by character. The moment you accept full ownership of your choices, something shifts within you. You stop asking, "Why me?" and begin to ask, "What can I learn? How can I rise?" When you wake up each morning and say, "I am responsible," you reclaim your agency. You stop drifting through life like a leaf in the wind and begin to walk with direction. The world may still wound you. It may still disappoint you. But you stand firm because you know the source of your strength is within. Dr. West reminds us that to be human is to be unfinished. To be constantly becoming. And to become, you must first own your story. You cannot heal a wound you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot rewrite a narrative you refuse to claim. So take responsibility for your time, your emotions, your energy. You don't need to control everything that happens. You just need to control how you respond. When you say, "I am responsible for my life," you stop being a victim and start being the author of your becoming. And that, my friend, is the first light of freedom. I choose love over fear. Now the second truth to tell yourself every morning. I choose love over fear. The world runs on fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being enough. Every advertisement, every social media post, every headline whispers the same poison. You are not complete. And when you wake up under that spell, your mind becomes a battlefield. But Cornel West reminds us that love is the condition of truth. Love is not soft. It is not passive. It is the most radical force in the universe because it dares to stand against the tide of fear and cynicism. When you choose love, you are not ignoring pain. You are transforming it. You are saying, I will not let my suffering make me bitter. You are saying, I will not let my trauma become my personality. Love does not mean everything is fine. It means I will meet the brokenness of the world with the wholeness of my heart. Each morning remind yourself I am capable of love. Not because the world deserves it, but because my soul requires it. Fear shrinks your world. Love expands it. Fear keeps you silent. Love makes you speak truth to power. Fear builds walls. Love breaks chains. When you operate from love, even your smallest actions carry infinite meaning. Choosing love means forgiving those who wounded you, not because they were right, but because you refuse to be imprisoned by hate. Choosing love means showing compassion, even when the world is cruel. It means seeing the divine in yourself and in others, no matter how deeply it's buried. Cornel West often says, "Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public. So let your mornings be acts of justice. Let your kindness be rebellion. Let your heart be your protest against the coldness of the world." Say it again with conviction. I choose love over fear, because in that choice lies your liberation. I am bigger than my circumstances. When you rise from your bed, before you let the world whisper limits into your ear, tell yourself this truth. I am bigger than my circumstances. The world loves to define you by your conditions, your bank account, your zip code, your mistakes, your background, your scars. It loves to tell you this is all you are. But my brother, my sister, the conditions of your life are not the content of your soul. The storms you face may shape you, but they do not define you. Cornel West says, "You can't be an optimist, but you can be a prisoner of hope." And that's the difference between living as a victim of your circumstances and living as an author of your destiny. Hope is not naive. Hope is a form of courage. It's the refusal to surrender your dignity to despair. When you say, "I am bigger than my circumstances," you are not denying reality. You are expanding it. You are declaring that no external situation can destroy the inner power that animates you. Poverty cannot steal your imagination. Heartbreak cannot rob your compassion. Failure cannot erase your worth. Every great soul in history understood this. They were not spared from suffering. They were refined by it. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, James Baldwin. They did not choose their circumstances, but they chose their response. They turned pain into prophecy, wounds into wisdom, chaos into courage. The question is not what happens to you, but what do you do with what happens to you? Will you shrink or will you rise? Will you let the fire burn you down or will you let it forge you? Each morning remind yourself, I may not control the storm, but I control my sail. I may not know the path, but I trust my purpose. I am bigger than my circumstances. And as you carry that truth into your day, the world will begin to reflect the strength you already hold inside. My value is not determined by the opinions of others. Now the fourth truth to speak into your soul each morning. My value is not determined by the opinions of others. In this digital age, validation has become the new addiction. We post to be seen, we speak to be approved, we live to be liked. But the soul of Cornel West warns us, if you live for applause, you will die from silence. Your worth is not a negotiation. It is not up for auction. You were born with value that no number, no title, no crowd can give or take away. And yet so many people spend their lives performing, shaping themselves into what they think the world wants, until they no longer recognize their own reflection. Every morning you must return home to yourself. You must reclaim your name before the world tries to rename you, because people will always have opinions about your success, your failure, your looks, your choices. But none of those opinions have the authority to define your soul. Dr. West teaches that real courage is to be yourself in a world that profits from your imitation. To stand in your truth even when it costs you comfort. To love yourself not because you are perfect, but because you are purposeful. When you wake, look in the mirror and say, I am not what they say I am. I am what I decide to become. Do not measure yourself by comparisons. The flower does not compete with the tree. The sun does not envy the moon. Each simply fulfills its purpose, and that is enough. You don't need validation. You need vision. You don't need applause. You need alignment. Because when you know who you are, the noise of others loses its power. So rise each morning and repeat, my value is not determined by the opinions of others. And watch how peace begins to live in your bones again. Today I will live with purpose. Finally, as the fifth declaration of your morning, say it with power, with breath, with soul. Today, I will live with purpose. Purpose is the fire that keeps the spirit alive. Without it, you drift. You survive, but you don't truly live. You wake up tired, not because you worked hard, but because you worked without meaning. Cornel West reminds us that to live without purpose is to die a little each day. But when you move through life guided by a calling, even pain becomes sacred. You begin to see meaning in the mundane, strength in the struggle, light in the labor. Purpose is not found in comfort. It's discovered in the questions you dare to ask. Who am I? Why am I here? How can I serve? These questions open the door to a life of depth, because the greatest tragedy is not death. It is living a life that never touched anyone. When you wake each morning, tell yourself, today, I will live with purpose. I will not just exist. I will create. I will give. I will love. I will leave something behind that echoes after I am gone. Purpose transforms your pain into power. It gives weight to your joy and direction to your sorrow. It turns ordinary days into sacred opportunities. You don't need to change the whole world. Just change one life, even if that life is your own. The world doesn't need more successful people. It needs more soulful people. People who wake up and decide to live intentionally, truthfully, courageously. So let your mornings begin not with anxiety, but with awareness. Not with noise, but with intention. Each sunrise whispers, you have another chance to live meaningfully. Answer that whisper with conviction. Today I will live with purpose. I'm grateful for this breath, this day, this chance. When your eyes open in the morning, before the worries rush in, before the to-do list swallows your spirit, say this quietly, I'm grateful for this breath, this day, this chance. Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a revelation. It is the awakening of the soul that realizes, I don't have to be here, yet I am. I don't have to be breathing, yet I breathe. Gratitude is not ignoring what's wrong. It's celebrating what's right in spite of it. Cornel West often says, to be grateful is to be grounded in grace. Grace, my brother, my sister, is that mysterious love that sustains you even when you've done nothing to deserve it. It's the sunlight that touches the sinner and the saint alike. When you begin your morning with gratitude, you're not denying your pain, you're reframing it. You start to see the lessons in your losses, the wisdom in your wounds, the blessings hidden in the struggle. You realize that even the storm carried you somewhere you needed to go. Gratitude humbles you. It reminds you that everything, from the air you breathe to the people who love you, is borrowed, not owned. It quiets your ego and opens your eyes, because once you begin to see life as a gift, you start treating it like one. So before you scroll, before you rush, before you chase, pause, breathe. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I am grateful for this breath. I am grateful for this chance. Every new day is a sacred invitation, an opportunity to write a better story, to forgive, to create, to grow. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into extraordinary, and that transformation begins every single morning. With a grateful heart that chooses to see, no matter what happens today, I will keep my soul intact. And now, the seventh and final declaration, a vow between your conscience and your Creator. No matter what happens today, I will keep my soul intact. The world will test you. People will disappoint you. Systems will exploit you. You will be misunderstood, betrayed, doubted, and sometimes even ignored by the very ones you gave your light to. But my friend, you cannot let the ugliness of the world make you forget the beauty of your own spirit. Cornel West teaches us that integrity is not perfection. It is consistency between what you say, what you believe, and how you live. It is the courage to do right even when wrong is easier. To keep your soul intact means you don't trade your principles for popularity, your compassion for convenience, or your faith for fear. In a culture obsessed with image, keeping your soul intact is an act of rebellion. When greed is normalized, generosity is radical. When cynicism is trendy, hope becomes revolutionary. When hate is loud, love becomes your loudest protest. Every morning, whisper this promise to yourself. I will not let this world harden me. I will stay soft but strong, humble but unbreakable. I will not let success intoxicate me or failure define me. My soul is my compass, and I will keep it intact. Because when the day ends and the applause fades, the only question that remains is, did you keep your heart pure? Did you stay true to your essence? That, and that alone, is the measure of a life well lived. The Morning Covenant. Now, my brother, my sister, let us return to where we began. The morning. That sacred threshold between sleep and struggle. Each sunrise is a sermon, a soft reminder that you still have purpose. That despite the heartbreak, despite the mistakes, despite the tears, you are still here. So as the light touches your face, remember these 7 truths. Your morning covenant with life. I am responsible for my life. I choose love over fear. I am bigger than my circumstances. My value is not determined by the opinions of others. Today I will live with purpose. I am grateful for this breath, this day, this chance. No matter what happens today, I will keep my soul intact. Let these not just be words you say, but seeds you plant. Seeds that grow through the cracks of your doubt and bloom into the garden of your becoming. Because every morning, you stand at a crossroad between the past that haunts you and the future that calls you. And every morning you are given the same choice. Will you rise as a reaction, or will you rise as a revolution? Cornel West reminds us, you can't lead the people if you don't love the people. You can't save the people if you don't serve the people. So let your mornings be filled not with complaint, but with compassion. Not with judgment, but with justice. Not with hurry, but with hope. When you rise each day, rise with the wisdom of humility, the armor of love, and the weapon of truth. Because you, my friend, are the miracle the morning was waiting for. So open your eyes and begin again. Live not as a shadow of yesterday, but as the light of today. Walk with love, speak with courage, and keep your soul intact. The world is watching, but more importantly, your soul is listening. Make sure what it hears is worthy of the divine breath that keeps you alive.